module 3 of the Dust Academy. So in the next 15 minutes or so, I will be introducing the actor process event scheme, also known as APES, which is a methodological and analytical tool for studying stakeholder participation in policymaking. APES stands for Actor Process Event Scheme. It is both a methodological framework and a software tool that is designed to analyze political and policy processes in a structured and systematic way. APES helps researchers and practitioners visualize how policy decisions unfold, identifying who is involved, when they're involved, and how they participate in each phase of the policy process. Many policy studies rely on qualitative case studies that are very rich in detail, but can sometimes be difficult to compare systematically. So APES bridges this gap by translating narrative descriptions into structured comparable data. So basically it makes political processes visible as networks of interactions between actors and events. So in short, APES offers a practical tool to trace and compare how different actors take part in shaping key policies for just sustainability transitions. So APES offers a methodological way to investigate stakeholder participation across all kinds of policy processes. And this module is aimed at students, young professionals, and practitioners who wish to replicate the DUST approach in their own contexts. So by the end of the lecture, you will be able to know first how to transform qualitative case studies into standardized analyzable data. Second, prepare that data for comparative social network analysis. And finally, visualize and interpret complex political and policy processes. So the goal is not just to understand APES in theory, but to be able to apply it in practice to map and analyze participation in transitions and better understand how inclusive and how coordinated these processes truly are. So the APES software runs within a two-dimensional space. On the vertical axis, we find the actor component. This represents the various stakeholders involved in the policy process. They are usually organized along two categorization levels. So for example, you can use the governance level, so for example EU, national or local, and then categorize them in terms of type of entity, such as public, private or civil society organizations. But these categories are really entirely flexible. The framework can really be adapted to fit the specific structure of each case study. And each actor's role is shown by a specific symbol. So you have a dark dot for active participation, a light blue dot for passive involvement, and a red triangle for leading responsibilities in a given event. On the horizontal axis, we find the process component, which represents the stages of a typical policy circle. So we have typically agenda setting, decision making, or implementation. And this structure, once again, is fully adaptable. And each stage consists of several events. Events are representing key moments of stakeholder participation within that phase of the process. So for this module, you will need to install the APES software on your laptop. The APES software is free for non-commercial use and works on both Windows and Mac OS. You can download APES from the official website, so www.apes-tool.ch. And once downloaded, simply follow the installation wizard for your operating system. Once the software is installed, you can start by creating a new scheme. To do that, you can go to File and then New to open a blank workspace. And then you can start with the vertical layers of your scheme. First by adding root levels. So these are your first categorization level of actors. To do that, you will need to go to Edit and then add a new root level. Root levels really define the broad organizational structure of your actors. Then the next step would be to add actor groups within each root level. So this represents your second categorization level. To do that, you go to Edit and then add a new actor group, and you select the root level where each actors belong. And finally, you will need to add actors inside each group. So these are the specific actor types within each group. To do that, you will go to Edit and then add a new actor and select the actor group where each actor belongs. And next, you can move to setting up the horizontal layers of your scheme. To do that, you will first want to create phases. These represent the moments of the policy circle you are investigating. So as I said before, typically agenda setting, decision making, etc. To do that, you will go to Edit and then add a new phase. And then you can add events within each phase. These are the key participation moments in the process. So you go to Edit, add a new event, and select the phases where each event belongs. And finally, the last step would consist in linking actors to events to show participation. So to do that, you will go to Edit, add a new relation, and select first which actor is involved, and second for which event. And then you can assign 3 different levels of participation. So leading, as I said, displayed by a red triangle, then active, displayed as a black dot, and finally passive, displayed as a light blue dot. And these visual symbols allow APES to really capture who participate, when, and to what extent throughout the whole process. Once your scheme is complete, APES allows you to aggregate data to obtain a more compact overview of participation patterns. Aggregation combines information from individual events or actors into summary nodes that are really helping you to see who was involved and how strongly they were involved. So typically APES offer 3 types of aggregation. The first one is actor group with events. The second is phase with actor, and finally actor group with phase. To aggregate, simply tick the box next to each item you want to include and then right-click and select Aggregate Selected Items. All 3 aggregation types are performed along 2 distinct dimensions. So you first have the quantitative participation, which is showed by node size and which reflects how often an actor or a group of actors was involved. So typically summing all the relations within your scheme. And the second dimension is the qualitative participation, which is shown by node brightness, and this indicates how actively or how strongly actors participated. So meaning it sums all the active and all the leading relations. So quantitative participation uses a 5-level scale. So the largest node represents the highest frequency of involvement. And qualitative participation uses a 3-level scale, so the darkest nodes corresponds to the most active or the most leading roles. And these aggregated views make it easy to identify where participation was most intense and where it remained limited. APES can also generate different types of matrices. This is where your data basically becomes ready for analysis. To do that, you will want to go to the matrices menu. The first one is the actor event matrix, which lists all actors on the rows and all events on the columns, and each cell contains the value of participation for a given actor in a given event. And these values reflect the participation type. So you have 1 for passive, 2 for active, and 3 for leading participation. This matrix shows exactly who was involved and how in every step of the process. And the second matrix is the actor-actor matrix, which shows how often actors have co-participated in the same events. So it basically represents the co-participation network. And you can choose between 2 versions. So first, a standard matrix, which assigns the value 1 when 2 actors have participated together and the value 0 otherwise. Or you can also choose a weighted matrix where the values add up the participation types, which gives higher scores to pair of actors that have worked together more often and more intensively. And these matrices can then be exported directly to Excel or used to generate visual network outputs. Once you have generated the actor-actor matrix, APES can visualize it as a target diagram. This diagram displays your network of actors as concentric circles, Each circle represents a level of centrality, showing how strongly connected each actor is within the network. So to generate this target diagram, just go to Mode and then Actor. APES automatically plots the diagram and arranges all nodes according to their eigenvector centrality, which, to put it simply, measures how well connected an actor is to other well-connected actors. Actors that are positioned at the center are the most central, which means that they are closely connected to other influential actors, and those placed towards the outer circles are less centrals with fewer or weaker ties with other actors. Actors belonging to the same actor group appear in the same color, which makes it easy to distinguish between groups, and you can then adjust the appearance of the diagram by right-clicking anywhere on the graph to either modify the minimum or the maximum centrality values, or choose to hide or show the actor labels and the connecting lines. APES also gives the possibility to create diagram by phase. So to do that, you select Mode and then actor by phase, and the software will then automatically generate one diagram for each policy phase, which you can scroll through and export individually. You can save any diagram via File and then export actor graph, choosing the preferred file format. So basically, the target diagram provides a quick visual way to identify the most influential actors and understand how participation patterns are structured within your policy network. Once your target diagram is ready, APES offers a series of built-in analytical tools that help quantify what the visual network shows. So from the actor mode, these features are available via the analysis menu and provide 6 different perspectives on participation. First, you have the actor participation, which computes the total participation per actor, both in absolute and in relative terms. The second feature is the phase duration, which measures the total length of each phase in your process, from the first to the last recorded event. The result is displayed in both absolute days and in relative percentages, showing which stages took longer or took shorter in the policy circle. Then the third feature is the actor per phase participation. So this basically looks at how much each actor or each group of actors participated during each phase, helping identify who was most involved and at which point in the process. The next feature is the actor centralities, which lists the eigenvector centrality values for each actor. So higher values indicate stronger or more influential positions within the scheme, and vice versa. Then we have, of course, network density. So this indicator really captures the overall interconnectedness of the network. So that is the proportion of actual links among actors compared to all the links that would be possible within the scheme. The value, of course, ranges from 0, so no connections, to 1, a fully connected network. And finally, we have centralization, which measures how concentrated participation is around a few key actors. So a high centralization value, so close to 1, means the network is dominated by a small number of highly connected actors, while a lower value, so close to 0, suggests a more balanced distribution of participation. So as we have seen throughout this module, APES is more than just a visualization tool. It is a complete framework for turning qualitative insights into structured comparable data. It helps make policy processes visible and measurable, showing how participation unfolds across time and across actors. And by doing so, APES allows us to trace stakeholder participation across the different phases of policymaking and to compare how inclusive or concentrated these processes truly are. So in short, it's really a bridge between in-depth case studies and policy network analysis, turning stakeholder participation into something we can measure, analyze, and compare across different contexts. Thank you for following Module 3 of the Dust Academy. Now it's your turn to explore APES in practice.